Welcome to the live stream. So this is part number 7 of building the UCS Millennium Falcon in Lego, and this should be a really exciting live because we're finally, so it looks like the Falcon, right? That's where we're at. It does look like a Millennium Falcon, but there's one key part of it doesn't have yet, at least not in its current form. So yes, the handling is done or anything like that, but here's a second. Moving a few things around. So basically what we have done off camera is I did the 2-side airlocks in one of the top panels last night. Second, it is not the easiest thing to move sometimes. I am still getting used to what part is the best, trying to figure out, for me at least, best place to lift it because it's absolutely humongous. Basically, it doesn't have the cockpit, right? Now, obviously, this set, as I've discussed before, this set does not really have an interior. All you really got in this, which is the original UCS Falcon, was you got the gun port and you got the main cockpit. And we have not added the cockpit. So it looks like a Falcon, but it doesn't have a cockpit. Yeah, obviously, we still need the top paneling, all that stuff. Tonight, I plan to be in a position where the top paneling is done. This is the 7th stream. We've been got this for over a week. Stop, get all the trays out. We are, however, definitely progressing nicely. All I can say is there'll be 10 live streams for building this set minimum. I don't know, like, I've not quite figured out with myself, what I think the final number, because I did get asked that, what the final number of streams will be, but I've kind of made a decision that I've had a lot of fun doing this, because I never streamed on YouTube before, really, until buying this, because I felt something like this kind of has to be done on YouTube, because, I don't know, it kind of is special and cool enough, it kind of wants it, so I was thinking, going forward, anything big, like, if I buy a set, like, I don't know, something like the Home 1 or Jabba's Palace, I'm not going to build it live here. But if I buy, like, anything I buy, like, UCS, which is something I've started to buy the UCS sets more and more recently, then I will, I build them here, make those exclusive content to the YouTube channel's live streams. Like, or if I'm setting up for Corona videos or something, I'll start doing those as the live streams here, because it'd be nice to have live stream content for this. But you're just, but we don't work all day, so it'll be nice to sit down and knock something. But yeah, the airlock parts on either side were added, and that top panel were added. So it is looking great. My goal for this stream, right, I don't plan to be live very long, is more or less get the structure for the cockpit, like the basic elements of that onto it would be nice. And then I'm going to have a quick flip through the instructions before we do that and quickly see what the next thing is. I've had to take this down from the shelf. I had it sitting on top of the drawers between buildings for my Old Republic stuff. Still not found a home for that yet. So what? It's just going to have to go on top of that X-Men. I'm planning to redo all my shelving at some point anyway. So yeah, it looks a bit messy right now, but eventual projects. Once I get time for it. If I had to make an educated guess, there'll be a lot of stuff for the cockpit. I don't know, like, is it going to maybe do all the bottom stuff for the cockpit and then do a whole bunch of other things, then come back and do all the top part of it and like the canopy? I don't know, because The one from 2017 has its own special piece for the canopy, but you know, back in 07, it's just open and brick built, so a bit different that way. Next one more to go. But let me know what we're just caught for 7 minutes and I feel like I'm making some progress. But yeah. Just by, you know, it not being 10 minutes in and I'm just beginning to start getting things set up. That is annoying to take out. Some of these do stick quite a bit. There's one thing I've been noticing. It's more so with just one of these units. Not all of them have that issue with the sticking. It's just this one specific one. So there are assumes it was shipped in a whole bunch of those organized like parts. Which was also really great because I've never really had a used Lego set and go to that kind of trouble. And of course we've got this one which has like all the grill pieces and stuff in it. But there we go, we're completely set up for this stream. So this is where we're starting off, and it's the part, so it's the actual inside of the cockpit, seats and stuff, and the part that mounts it onto the main body. So I have brought the Falcon down for this to make it easier. I will, however, I'm gonna have to turn it the other way. I have been finding moving this while building it a little bit awkward. It's one of those things, unless you own this model, it's hard to explain how big it actually is. Because I, for years, wondered how big this set actually was. I'd seen 2017's Falcon, right, a couple of times behind glass displays and stuff. But it's hard to, like, holding it gives you a different size perspective. So, yeah, there's that. So I've got pointing that way because the Falcon, those of the cockpit comes out from here and goes along. So, yeah, right. I'll be back in one moment. We're going to start building then. I'm going to get a drink and whatnot, and we'll power through. I'll put some background stuff on. I'm not being letting people join these YouTube lives because I'm still figuring out how to do that because I'm not streaming using YouTube. I don't stream using an external streaming platform that connects and broadcasts to you. It's awkward the way it works. No. I'm no hungry. Aye. No, no. I'm no hungry at the minute, but I'll eat something soon. But yeah, I was saying, so external software. Basically, you have to do that with a laptop. I don't know why. It's like on a phone, you can easily just go on and it's like allow permission, blah 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 blah. I don't get it. My hair bit's a bit in a warehouse all day. But yeah, basically, on your phone, you just go in and you allow allow microphone, allow camera, allow broadcasting. Simple enough. And then YouTube on the laptop just has to go and overcomplicate basically the entire process and make you do all of those things. It's like, why? I'm not going to put any of the movies on like I did last time because one of my live streams, it was part number 2, is in this video unfortunately can't be viewed by you guys because I've been letting them upload to YouTube to be reviewed. People who missed the initial, casting of them like this, or broadcasting, however you want to put it. And essentially, YouTube's like, oh yeah, because we picked up the audio from that scene in A New Hope where the Tantive is being chased by the Star Destroyer, the score in the background, like, yeah, well, we don't want you doing that, so the video is unviewable, is completely blocked. I'm like, oh, great, thanks. It's like, wait a minute, I argue, right, that copyrights, unless I was to make a live stream where the whole live stream is just the movies, right, up close, like perfectly done, like literally sharing the whole movies, that'd be fair enough. But like background noises in live stream should never really count towards copyright. Like, granted, if you have audio of someone doing or saying something messed up, that's different. But in this case, cases like this, I just don't agree with them applying that. I don't know, man. It feels like a power trip to me. Let's see. It'd be helpful if I got the controller for that. Which apparently I don't know what I've done that with that. Oh yes, brilliant. But yeah, so I'm just gonna be a bit more careful, like with what I have on in the background of these, because even if I've streamed in other places, I have noticed YouTube just having those kind of moments with me. Not to mention, right? I thought at first YouTube were the problem there. No, it was like Disney tried to claim the copyright on the video. Like, really? The live stream wasn't earning money, so I don't see what the point was, other than just to go, we did it because we can. That kind of thing. Crap, I don't even know what that is right now. Right, so I can there, and we're going to start. I'll stop in a little bit more. I'm just going to try and start getting some of the parts here. So I have to build it on here, because I've got the falcon there. So this is roughly right where the assembly would come out. I don't know, some part like that. But my plan is like 10:30 is the latest I will be on this live stream. So I'm saying this ship has generated the most content out of any set I've ever bought. Purely just, and that's without reviewing it or any of that stuff. Because I got an unboxing video out of this, I got all these streams out of it, and I do actually intend to review this set. Not this year though. There's some Lego sets that I've kept a hold of to review on their anniversaries of release. So, like, I bought the 2005 wave of Lego Star Wars sets, a bunch of the sets for the Revenge of the Sith wave, right? Didn't start, and this was last year, didn't start reviewing them till this year, because, Revenge of the Sith anniversary and stuff like that kind of just felt right to wait a little bit with those ones. Well, I don't know. I just thought that was the best way to do the content on that one. Yeah, one sec. My dumbass is looking for the remotes. I don't know what I did with them. Problem solved. Not a fan of a lot of batteries in these, but yeah, as I was saying before, so when it comes to sets and building, if I'm building a small set, that'll just be some on one of the other social medias. But this, something like this, if I do any more UCS sets, they'll be on here. And I know I'm going to get that comment about the big, like, 1K Death Star they're releasing. The chances of me doing all I build of that, because I've been asked already, that's slim chances. I don't know why, I just don't see, like, I own some nuts things in the world of LEGO Star Wars and LEGO in general, but I'm not quite sure I'm ready to go in on a 1K Death Star. If I was going to spend that much on a single LEGO set, it'd be something classic. If there's a YouTube video about it, one of them right there.
Problems with grey hair? New Alpacin Grey Attack, the shampoo.
Yeah, let's get started.
Each time you use it. Right for your hair.
No, I won't make them there. Right. But yeah, my goal is basically the cockpit. I'm going to quickly flick ahead and have a little look, see what comes after.
Because nearly all of the 38 minifigs have leaked, so I'll be telling you all of the confirmed figures for this set, including some that are very exciting and some that are very disappointing, like no dual leg on a C3PO and a $1,000 set. Great job, LEGO. But you know what's possibly more disappointing than no dual molded leg on a C3PO and a $1,000 set? Well, the actual look of the Death Star has leaked, and let's just say it's not what
So you build the part I'm doing right now, and then you take a whole bunch of parts there. I guess this is the tunnel for it, maybe?
$1,000 Death Star will look like. We'll get started with the minifig leaks because that is what we've actually seen some leaked pictures of surfacing online, both of the top of the box and from the instruction manual. They look like they were literally ripped out of the instruction manual, kind of a hilarious way to leak figures. Starting off strong, we've got 3 Luke Skywalkers with his Farm Boy outfit, Stormtrooper outfit, and Return of the Jedi look. Then we've got Princess Leia in her standard look, Han Solo in his smuggler look, plus Han Solo in the Stormtrooper outfit. Then we've got Chewbacca, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
What's this bit here about then?
So hopefully maybe a slightly updated figure. And then we also have
So you build the cockpit, and you randomly decide to build one of the cross set. All right.
I mean, I thought LEGO would have seen the fuss about him not having a dual molded leg in a $500 set last year. They literally just said double it and give it to the next person. In the most literal sense, I can't believe they didn't give C3PO a dual molded leg. They literally gave him a dual molded leg in a $6 keychain. They gave him a dual molded leg in the $200 Luke Land Speeder, dual molded leg in the C3PO that you see behind me, wherever he is. That's like $140, but no dual molded leg in a $1,000 set. You're not winning a lot of hearts and minds doing that, LEGO. Not winning a lot. Dual molded leg epidemic doesn't go anywhere as we move into the Imperials, unfortunately, as Grand Moff Tarkin will be getting dual molded legs. You've got a standard Darth Vader, standard Emperor Palpatine. I don't think anything about them will be unique to this set. We've also got the main Imperial Sim from what I can tell. He's wearing purple. Looks really cool as a minifig, honestly. I do wish they had done the other one that we see basically in every picture was similar. I named it before this, but like I knew they would probably include an Imperial Dignity or 2 here. I was hoping we would get 2. Again, $1,000.
It's all the minifigures for the Death Star is what they're talking about.
We already know they're penny pinching. You see the rest of the figures in this set. It's clear. Then you have Yularen, which looks nice again with the addition of dual molded legs. Admiral Modi or Madi, he's the guy that gets coached by Darth Vader. So I think that's a really cool inclusion. I don't think we've ever seen him in another set. I can't remember exactly. And then we also have General Taji or Taj, something like that. He in the movie has a terrible haircut when I looked him up. Horrible haircut. LEGO really saved this guy. They used a really slick hairpiece for him when he really shouldn't have a slick hairpiece. So that guy got saved by LEGO. Of course, those Imperial officers I just named won't be getting dual molded legs either. Again, $1,000 set. Can't be bothered. $5 CMF.
That's actually terrible. They're not giving them special molded legs, and that cut the price of the set. Wow. Nice one there, LEGO.
Looks great to me. We have an Imperial Protocol droid in 5D6 RAC. That figure is actually leaked from the factory. Pictures on the internet. Looks really nice to me, so excited about that one. Now the top of box leaked picture, you see 5 Stormtroopers, but I'm assuming it's 6 because there going to be another figure to the left that we cannot see. So I'm going to assume 6 stormtroopers in the set, but 5 certainly confirmed for just normal stormtroopers. But technically, they're stormtroopers. I got 2 deaths. Then we're going to have at least 1 Imperial shuttle pilot, as well as 4 more from the roll figures. So 4 more unknown figs. Very likely some more Imperial crew members. Exactly. And then to bring us home, we're getting 2 Emperor's Row guards, astromech droid that I can't quite make out which astromech droid is exactly. Which is one of the 3 beach troopers that I think of when I think of like Lego Star Wars video game beach trooper designs. You got the 2 from the Complete Saga, 1 from the Skywalker Saga where he's wearing white pants with red hearts. Yet the one in this set has red pants with like a white Imperial logo, and I'm not exactly sure where it's from. The closest thing I could find to it was from the Star Wars Castaways game, but in the leaked instruction manual, it says it's from Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. So if someone can help me with that, send me an Instagram DM if you can find information, if you've seen this leaked picture and you know what this is exactly from. I need to have it figured out by the time I review the set, because I want to have whatever I'm going to say officially, I guess, about it in a review down to a T. But it's really cool that they were making a beach trooper. It's just not one of the 3 kind of standard designs. It's certainly not, this would have been the one I expected because it's actually from the Skywalker Saga. And it's, to me, it's the iconic Skywalker Saga design, but maybe I'm off base there. I would love to know if someone can help me out with that. Ironically, though, the beach trooper is the only figure in this set to get dual molded legs. The rest of them all just have standard legs. He gets dual molded legs. There's like a half dozen, at least, probably a little bit more than that, because you do a dozen minifigs that could have had dual molded legs. Any $1,000 set that don't. And of course, an example like C-3PO is even more ridiculous because he has dual molded legs in far cheaper sets that cost 10 times less almost than this Death Star. It's true, the keychain, right? $6 versus $1,000, and you get a lower quality. Insane. People have defended Lego for too long for crap like this, and this is what happens when you do that. But that's all 38 figures with 5 that are technically unknown. One of them is very likely a stormtrooper, and then the rest are just probably like regular hero crew members. So I wouldn't expect any like other big names to come out of the unknown characters. Maybe drop your hot take guesses below. Speaking of hot takes, now we're going to talk about the dang Death Star. This thing is going to be $1,000, and it is going to look nothing like what 95 to 99% of people expected a $1,000 Death Star to look like.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
So it's not going to be a big paneled sphere and have a bunch of interior stuff like you probably expected. Like I expected.
We're at so far. Yo.
First drop, but I found out quite a while ago that this Death Star was going to be rather disappointing. I shouldn't say that. I thought it was going to be disappointing. It just in the words of Ryan Johnson, subverts your expectations. So this was not in the background of my last video by accident.
Luna, love every bit.
I actually bought this a long time ago. I bought this when I found out. And when I found out that the Death Star would be shaped more or less like this, I was really disappointed. So I tried to recreate my reaction of finding out that it was going to be like this shape and not this shape.
You what?
I was incredulous. Like I was like,
This is a $20 billion company. We're trying to. What are you doing? Are you serious?
It's the level of like you're giving us a walk-off home run of baseball and you're just like standing there like, oh my god, what just happened? It was like that, but for Lego Star Wars to me. Nobody's gonna like this, that, and the other. And I still don't know. The model would be very cool, but we all know that it's hard to hold it for $1,000. So we're already going in the wrong direction. On top of being nothing like what people expected to get for $1,000, I don't think either of those things are going to be helping this set. So it is apparently a Death Star diorama that is shaped like this, more or less, where it's like a half circle or something, right? That's going to sit somewhat flat on the ground. And then imagine like these Funko Pops, room here, room here, room here, then stacking up another room, another room, another room, another room, another room, another room. I don't know the exact number of rooms, but you get the idea that rooms would be stacked up on their way up to the top here, and down basically. Dude, I'm acid thinking about the fact that the $1,000 Death Star is going to be like Lego Star Wars doesn't take chances on sets like that. Like you think about Lego Star Wars sets, and it's generally what people like. So
The commentary will continue once that's done.
On rails. Like I don't want them to do too many crazy things when it comes to a set like this. Like I want to play it safe. $1,000 Death Star, big sphere like you would expect, interior like you would expect, high quality minifigs like you would expect. Here's $1,000, sir. Not going to be what you expect. It's not going to include high quality minifigs, and you're still gonna pay that much. I was enjoying watching everyone else find out what I found out and just have the moment of like, oh my god, what is going on? But it's like it could still be a good set. Who knows? But like, it is not. Yeah, right. It's not what you thought. Not what you thought at all. Getting a real slice of the Death Star. It's crazy. I'm hoping at least maybe there's panels that can go on the front, covered up. You could have this kind of cool looking Death Star silhouette like this, kind of like this would be at least. Just have like clear paints here, maybe. I don't know. Just trying to. Yeah, it's probably not going to be like that, is it? I assume it'll be about the size of 20,000. Turn it on its side and let it be vertical or whatever. But like, it's even at that size, like whatever. Like the quality of the figs ain't there. It's not what you probably want for a Death Star display. I bet it will be pretty cool though to like have all of the little scenes displayed in the Death Star. I suppose the benefit of the way they have done it is that you can actually enjoy all of the scenes that you will be paying for, basically. Versus if you had a Death Star like this, well, it's going to be covered up all the time. You can't enjoy all of those very high-quality minifigs that they've stuffed into the set for you to look at, right? The whole point is you're buying the set to look at all these scenes. You can't even get the best figures to put in those scenes. Like, you can see how ridiculous that is. But yeah, there's a bright side to it, certainly, if you want to look at it that way. Our reaction probably feels fairly subdued to what you expect because I've already gotten it out. I've already had my moment of, oh my god, why would you do that? Like, who okayed this? Who greenlit this? What was the thought process? Maybe they okayed it, maybe they greenlit it, and they got all the way to here, because it's just going to be that cool. But we don't know that. Right now, we just know a pancake Death Star? Ooh, don't know about that, right? Like, you're definitely skeptical. So that's where I'm at now, because I've had all of the emotions long gone of like, oh my god, it's horrible, because that's what it was for a long time. And it's now like, all right, let's see what we got. Let me know your thoughts on the insane turn of events that is the $1,000 Death Star's shape, as well as the minifigs. I mean, how couldn't you be excited about a bunch of minifigs without dual molded legs that should have them in a $1,000 set? Make sure you subscribe to the channel if any more info leaks. I will probably make another video on it, but right now, that is everything we know about the Death Star and its figures and the disappointment that is potentially.
So that's where we're at on the cockpit. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but essentially, all right, maybe I'm kind of wishing I actually had my Death Star still to show you guys, but that just sounds like a major disappointment. So essentially, you get a bunch of stacked, just £1,000 for a diorama. Oh my god. I know modern Lego Star Wars could be screwy at times, but that's like a whole new level. Wow. Lego Commander Cody, I'd go watch the M&R Productions video right now on the $1,000 Death Star. Wow. So it's meant to have like basic standard minifigures without any option, without any special legs or arms or anything like that. And it's, yeah, there's some issues with it. All I can tell you for sure is I am very less likely to buy it. Well, I wasn't thinking about buying it already unless it was like a masterpiece, but now that I've seen that and that's what's going on, my temptation to go on eBay in a couple of weeks when I get paid and buy a 10143 is tempting now. I got the word, put 10143, but I'd like to have one before they go up in price, because I feel like people who are all hyped wanting a UCS Death Star are going to see that and be like, well, I've got three choices, the two playset ones and then the big panel one from 2005. And if that was me, I'll be honest, I wasn't too hyped for the set anyway. If that was me, I'd be all over that 2005 version. Wow, that is Reality is often disappointing. Just assembling some of the paneling that goes on the Falcon. So it's like all the bits to make that shape, but now I see how they do it. That is actually quite smart. Right. Get some more get the background noise back on. Wow, that is not what I was expecting. Oh well, you got a live reaction to that one. Now put back some Jago hazard on.
I'm going to put the tube lines in order based on their age. Oh, but there's a twist. See, the question of the age of the different underground lines has more than one answer. It all started in in the case of this, it started a fortnight ago when I saw a discussion on social media where someone said that the Waterloo and City line was the newest tube line. And someone else replied that, no, it isn't. It's a very old tube line indeed, older than the majority of the other lines. But here's the thing, they're both right. So let's investigate. Oh, and by the way, things are about to get seriously nerdy around, even by this channel's standards, so buckle in. So the first way to do it is what I'll call the standard order, when the lines are generally considered by historians to have first opened. That is to say, when the first section opens to the public. That goes thus.
So we're not building the full cockpit. You build a good majority of the cockpit, then you switch to like another part of the set entirely. That's kind of weird.
Shortly after, in 1864. The district comes along in 1868. Now the circle line is where we hit our first complication. It's never been a separate line, physically speaking. It's a route formed from part of the Metropolitan line and part of the district line. So you could argue that it opened in 1863 with the first section of the Metropolitan. However, I think it was 1884. That's when the train necessary completion was finished.
Feel the power to lower prices with Tesco Club Card. Don't just see a place, experience it. Stop hanging under the shed. Dive into underground jazz with a musician. Or see Notre Dame with someone who helped restore it. Airbnb experiences.
That is the first time you could take a train around the entire circle. 6 years later, in 1880, you get the first section of the Northern Line, which is the City and South London Railway from Stockwell to King William Street. The Northern Line is complicated, though, because it really has 3 lines in the black trench coat. You could argue that the Northern Line really opens in 1907 when the Charing Cross, Euston and Hampstead Railway opened. That's the Charing Cross branch of the Northern Line all the way up to Golders Green. But I'm going to say 1890, making the Northern Line number 5 on this list. The City and South London Railway led to a sort of tube mania. So from the late 1890s, you get a whole raft of tube lines. The Waterloo and City line opened in 1898. The Central line comes along in 1900. The Bakerloo line shows up in March 1906, followed by the Piccadilly line in December of that year. Then the Hampstead line, if you like. Then things go quiet. Tube lines extend, contract, join up, and absorb other tracks. But there's no completely new tube line until 1968, when the first section of the Victoria line opens.
Right, I have run into a slight roadblock. I'm going to have to try and find these small printed tiles. Well, no, wait, these are sticker parts.
This is not a complete list. I've not counted any tube lines that no longer exist. So, no Northern City line, no East London line.
Oh, they on the slopes.
Nor have I counted any railways in London that fall under TfL but aren't the underground, because when you do that, things get really complicated. So, no overground trams, DLR, TfL rail, or Elizabeth line.
Right, so I can't use those.
We could go in. There are several lines that existed but didn't get their identity as a tube line until later on. So if we do that, we get Metropolitan, District, Northern, Central, Piccadilly. The Circle line, or Inner Circle as it was known back in the day, first appeared on the map as a separate Hammersmith and City line first opened in 1864.
All right, there's 3 printed pieces. Why do you do There's 3 sticker bits in each line.
Colour and appeared as a separate thing on the map.
Hmm.
Something similar happened with the East London line, but I'm not talking about that.
Nah.
Waterloo and City
Right.
opened in 1848, but was for all intents and purposes part of the London and South Western Railway, which was the main line company that owned Waterloo Station. So for the thick end of 100 years, it belonged to whoever owned Waterloo. It wasn't until 1994
I have to take these all out individually and double check.
So that is how it can be both a very old line and the newest line. All right, how about we step it up a notch? How about we order them by the time they were completed? When the last section of track was finished. Here we get a very different order. Number 1 is the Waterloo and City line. I'll say this for the Waterloo and City line, it never tried to be anything other than what it was built to be.
No.
No branches, no extensions. My job was to roll like that. Next is the district. In 1902 it was extended to Upminster, which is still the current eastern limit of service. Then the Bakerloo, whose final extension to Harrow and Wealdstone came in 1917. Now, if you know the history of the Bakerloo line, you'll know that it took over the Stanmore branch in 1939. But since that's not a current part of the line, I'm not going to count it. Same
Right.
for other services
So,
that
and check it out. I'm just going to have to go through every individual bin looking for parts like that.
Bakerloo is also the one most likely to cause an upset in the future, with on-paper plans to extend to the south. The Metropolitan comes next, opening to Watford in 1925. I suppose that means I'm going to have to do a centenary video later this year, not until November. The Hammersmith and City service was extended to Barking in 1936, where it remains. In 1949, the Central Line took over the road to Wapping, which it reached here. The Victoria Line crossed beneath the river in 1971 and reached Brixton. Now we have another one. Next up, the Jubilee extension to Stratford, opened in 1999. The Piccadilly Line opened on Road 705 in 2008. These days, the Circle Line is not really a circle because for operational reasons it runs over the Hammersmith and City Line to Hammersmith. This began in 2009. And finally, you have the Northern Line, which was rebooted back in 2023. Okay then, let's go to how do the tube lines rank if you go by the oldest section?
Double checking here, but I'm like
Even if it was not part of
90% sure they're not in here.
Here we go. Now the real upset is the Central Line. The section from Stratford to Loughton was opened by the Eastern Counties Railway in 1850.
And they won't be in there because I can actually see what's in that one.
From Paddington to Farringdon.
Double check this one.
63. But since that section also carries the Hammersmith and City and Circle lines, we have to count them as well. Joint number 2. Number 3 is the district.
I have to throw out all these slope pieces just to be sure.
Runs over track acquired from the district line, which in turn acquired part of their route from the London and South Western Railway. So that means its oldest section is from Turnham Green to Ravenscourt Park, opened in 1869. It doesn't stop at Ravenscourt Park, and then it only stops at Turnham Green at the beginning and end of the day, but the route dates from then. The oldest section of the Northern Line is way out. It's the line from East Finchley to High Barnet, which first appeared under the Great Northern Railway in 1872.
Blisters are annoying, and forget regular plasters. Try a complete blister plaster. It absorbs paint
No.
and creates optimal humidity levels for first healing. Instant relief. We work, you move. And for cold sores, try
That is actually extremely infuriating.
for accelerated healing. Don't skip on summer. Not indoors last minute getaway. Book today. We'll see where the
I am 100% not screwing this up somehow, right?
The Jubilee Line is remarkably neat if you take it from its oldest section, which was formerly part of the Metropolitan Railway from Finchley Road to Willesden Green, opened in 1879. Good old Waterloo and City. That comes next in 1898. Now, the Victoria Line is a very line.
What? I don't understand this.
It partially shadows the Northern City Line, and London Transport were keen on providing cross-platform interchange between the lines. In order to
Well, it's
achieve
definitely
this,
affected the momentum of the stream.
segments were rearranged in 1964. The North Line by all became the Victoria Line platform. Finsbury Club, one of the Northern City platforms, was handed over to the Victoria Line, and the other was handed over to the Victoria Line. Which is technically the oldest section of the Victoria Line date from 1904.
Oh, I found two of them.
Well, here's an irony. The Bakerloo Line, the line that's famous now for being the most retro if you're feeling kind, or the most dilapidated if you're not, is actually the newest. The section from Lambeth North.
Right, so I just need to find one single piece.
So there you have it. The oldest two lines, 4 different ways. There are other ways you can use it. If you go to the oldest station, the Bakerloo Line is the Harrow and Ilston opening in 1837. If you go to the first acquired by the entity that would eventually become the London Underground, it's the District. There are no doubt others I haven't thought of. Maybe it would be fun/insanity-inducing to put the stations in order of age. Now that's complicated. Anyway, I'll leave that one for consideration. I hope you enjoyed this chronological tale from the Duke. If you did, please feel free to leave a like or even subscribe, or both, or neither. I'm not your dad. I would like as ever to thank my donors on Ko-fi, on Patreon, and here on YouTube for your generous support.
In regards to that last one, I think what I may just end up doing that last tile is rather than stopping the build completely to search for it, when I come across it, I'll add it in because it's not so it's easily done. Yeah, we'll do it that way. I think that's just the smarter way to go about it because it's for this control panel thing here. That's a really nice looking piece there as well. Combination of parts, but it still looks real good, right? Change that. More people talking about the Death Star. And I feel like watching a few videos like this just in case. I don't know, I don't think you would, but you never know. So this could just be a giant troll by people.
By now, I think we all know there's a $1,000 Lego Death Star coming out this fall, and if the $1,000 price tag already did not make you not want to buy it, this piece of information that we got today might just do that. So let's get into it, guys. We have a couple things involving the $1,000 Death Star. We have 25 out of the supposed 38 minifigures, pretty much leaked right now, and then we also have some information regarding the supposed size and, dare I say, shaping of this, supposedly spherical, space station, right? So let's get into it, guys. With these 25 figures, we have these pictures right here. The first page being we have Luke Skywalker and Han Solo in the Stormtrooper outfits, which these supposedly will just be the same ones we got a couple of years back. Nothing really much more to change about these figures. I think there's really no additional things they can do to these to make them any better. So you'll have these included. Makes sense. And these versions of them are fine for me. Next up, we have the Princess Leia Organa, and this one, of course, has nothing to really change about her either. Pretty much the best version of Leia they can pretty much do at this current point. Arm printing doesn't really make much sense here. Then we have Chewbacca. Chewbacca we've got this for over 10 years now. And the one thing I will say is I did see this picture of this custom set from, I don't know the username, but I'll have a screenshot, of course, with the username up there. But it is a Kashyyyk mock I saw today. And the figure list on that custom set had Wookiees and Chewbacca with the tall woody legs. And that's the first time I ever really saw a good Photoshop image or render.
Yeah, but guys, I'm just I've got some stuff on in the background talking about these new sets because I would expect Lego to do something like put too many stickers or something in it, but that is excessive. Like changing the shape of the Death Star for some reason.
hopefully R2S back for things. We don't necessarily know that yet. Next on this page, we have Emperor Palpatine. No pupils, so really to me. I know there's people out there who like that. Not a fan of it. Next up, we're doing Skywalker. With no more printing. I don't know if you've ever done printing on episode 6 Luke before, but I mean, I think at least a couple lines or something would be nice on those legs, for $1,000 set. Next up, kind of the first heater of the set, we have the Imperial Dignitary. I don't necessarily know what this is from. I've seen pictures of this character before, like in renders or comics. I don't know if it was necessarily for showing directly in a movie. I don't think I would remember that, but I definitely have seen this before. Printing of the dress piece definitely.
You're like a bit right.
Next up, we have the Royal Guard, which supposedly we should be getting 2 of those on the set. That is something that we've seen throughout this big there's 5 individual figures, but there's going to be multiple quantities. Of course, that's something that's those. Next up, this one leaked a couple weeks back. We have the droid right here, the 5D6RA7.
This guy actually showing no pictures of them. Was not expecting that. Right, so this bit then connects into here. And I thought it had been done at an angle, but I suppose, right, the way they're going to do it is it's connected like this, but they'll have a bit just for show. For looks, it goes across the other way. No, I'd like to guess that's how it's going to be done. The Lego's getting a grilling over that set by a lot of people.
Realistically, probably cost them 5 cents or a dime. But you can benefit without a quarter. And for $1,000, they can budget in 5 of them for us, which is insane. This is absolutely great. Next up, we have General. I think this is General Tag. I think I've heard before. Same thing. They'll do molded legs. Next up, we have Ularn right here. I can't really tell if this is a light outfit or a light gray outfit. Either way, let me know down below. What do you guys think it is, and what should be the right outfit? Right? I mean, every time I've seen it, it's a white outfit. So I guess this one probably should be it. But same thing. Don't do molded legs.
Wow, you know what is funny, right? So when Lego usually do original trilogy-based sets, they're usually done really perfectly because Lego rarely, at least for me, rarely ever screws up anything from the original trilogy. This is one of the first original trilogy sets they've done badly.
Presumably, again, it's hard to tell, but presumably they got all the rankings right on these courses, right? It's hard to tell in these images, but give them the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully they got those right. It's the same hairpiece from a decade ago, which I think fits Martin well. But again, no dual flags. Next up, we have our gunner here. Built figure. Pretty obvious that was going to come in this set. Next up, guys, we have the last page of figures here. I guess starting off with the actually we'll start off at the bottom here, just to kind of save the best for last. We have the Imperial crew member. Same thing, no dual molded legs. It's crazy to me. Next up, we have a Family Guy Stormtrooper, which I'll show a picture later on. I think there should be 5 Family Guy regular Stormtroopers in this set. Next up, we have Luke Skywalker in the Episode 4 outfit, also Han Solo in Episode 4 outfit. And I'll say this much, man. I mean, it's cool, but it's not really good, I think, because you can see the light or the tan all the way on the side of the leg. There's not white up top, but based off this image, it does look like he just has no pants on. You know what I mean? So this image will look again, once it's in hand, once we actually see that it's a tan leg instead of better, but based off this image, it looks like he's just got his shirt on. Looks like it barely covered his groin area, and he's got no pants on right there. But Moving up top, we have Imperial Shovel. Looks like it's all black outfit, 20 black legs, which I'm actually.
But at some point, I'm gonna take suggestions, right, for more of these ones, because that could be an interesting thing to try occasionally.
Then we have Orphan right here. Roughly the same as before.
So just joining, we're building the UCS Falcon from 2007.
He actually has all black pants and all black legs on his that's good. And I guess who's I guess I'll say this. I green outfit, the dark green outfit is, in my opinion, kind of a weird choice. I would have thought it would have been, a darker gray, maybe an olive green if they really wanted to go that route. But dark green, to me, doesn't necessarily look bad. It's just not, how I envision seeing Galen Urso in Lego form. But very cool to see him. Same thing, some dual molded lights would have been nice. It just would have been nice to add some stuff to that. I mean, these figures just look so. They look dangerous. They just do. They look dangerous, especially when you get into these multi-hundred, if not now $1,000 sets. It just looks so weird.
So I'll be taking suggestions for the next UCS set we do as a live build. I think that could be fun.
I'll probably end up getting him eventually. Then lastly, we have the Hot Tub Stormtrooper, which very, very cool.
Of course, I dropped something.
This entire set so far, again, there's still a couple figures that haven't leaked yet that has dual molded legs. Has the Family Guy Stormtrooper helmet, and it is based on apparently Saga game. I'm not too sure. That's what I've heard, but I bought that game day one. I played it for like 3 hours, and I was bored out of my mind. Haven't touched it since. So I definitely never got to the hot tub scene. And I posted on my story, they should change the helmet. It would be good. Like, I'm not saying that it's not accurate to what it's based off of, but just if I were to ever get, 5 of these figures to put in my hot tub, I would put the old helmets on personally. Again, I don't expect them to go back and put the old helmets on a one-off figure, but, and again, especially
It's kind of right, explaining the kind of paneling that goes around, but I can see how they get the shape on this. That does make sense. Because I was as I was building it there, I was kind of questioning how it worked.
Royal Guards, Hot Tub Stormtrooper, 5 Family Guy Stormtroopers, the Vertical Droid,
Family Guy Stormtrooper. Yeah, that's exactly what they look like. That's an accurate statement.
Luke Farboy, Luke Stormy, Luke ROTJ, Han, a regular Han, Han and Stormy outfit, Princess Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be in here also, which is nice to know. That was not part of the images. Chewbacca, C-3PO, R2-D2, and according to Coop, there should be 5 bigs left that have not been leaked. We don't know whether those are named characters or not, but 5.
Given everything I've heard about this set so far, and the fact that it's not going to be an actual Death Star shaped Death Star, I don't think I want it. I like a lot of the figure ideas in it. Probably grab a couple of those off the internet, but no.
October 1st, 2025 release. Let's move on to this description right here. Let's read it together. It says, the set will be a large-scale diorama rather than a complete sphere, measuring 70 centimeters high, 79 centimeters wide, 27 centimeters high. Likely half a sphere cross-section diorama. So, all right, let's just get the elephant out of the room here. It's crazy to me, all right? This is insane to me that they're going to go this route for $1,000 set. Hear me out. Like I said, this was going to be some, maybe $250, $350 set. I could see them going this route because you're still.
Yeah, see these panels we're working on right now that kind of bend in. Now it's taking the look. Brilliant.
At $1,000, I feel like, of course, you still have a small percentage, or whatever, 20% of Lego Star Wars fans that will be able to fork out $1,000 no matter how it is. Okay, and that's still going to be the case. rather than the large scale, spherical Death Star. But of course, it being this way now, even just based off seeing all these comment sections, man. I mean, there's hundreds.
Well, I've already been asked when the YouTube review this one will happen. Simple answer is it's not happening until 2027. Because one, this set is 18 years old this year, this version of the UCS Falcon. And I think it'd be kind of cool, right, to review it after 20 years. Because this set is one of the more iconic. This set's iconic for being a UCS set. Or rather, the set. I see when it comes to like Lego Star Wars sets that are kind of iconic in the Lego community. This is one of those ones. So, a set like this, I want to wait till to the 20th anniversary of its release, which is in a couple of years, to review it. Not to mention, does that look alright now? There we go, front end of it. What was I saying there? Yeah. It's kind of like how I waited over a year to review some of those Revenge of the Sith sets. Right, let's get this on. Two Technic pins is all that's holding that in. We have the cockpit on the Falcon. That is cool. That is a big change. I know it doesn't look like it, but I think it is. Come on, message to.
Very big vibes of 2022 Black Panther bust, Hulkbuster, Hogwarts Express. Again, is it early? Is it too early to call it? It probably is. All right, but I'm willing to bet. I mean, this sounds like one of those sets by next summer. This might be like a 20 to 40% off, like permanent pricing on Lego.com type of set, like how those other sets were. How Black Panther was 40% off for like 11 months or something. Like this could be one of those. So like, if you want my humble opinion, with this new description of this set, if you were debating on buying this, saving up your $1,000 and buying it day one or like in the first month or two, and like if you were contemplating that, like you don't need it, but like you want to buy it. Like,
but this is, yeah, you see roughly where my hand is. That's the cockpit on there. So obviously you build up the canopy, but well enough, you do this kind of spinal bit that goes through here, and then you start building some completely other different part of the build.
This might be like a straight 20% off set on Lego. Like that's just how it's sounding to me. Because all the figures, most of them are very dusty. They're either just boring figures as is, which sure they're meant for the set, but they're boring. All right, they're not driving factors to sell the set. All right, the other percentage of them
right
aren't done professionally, in my opinion. They lack print, they lack
I'm debating if I'll keep going after this to do the next section. Well, I'm no rush to actually finish this. I've been enjoying the almost, well, I suppose I took a few days off from it there. I'm enjoying the constant live streams I've been getting out of this one.
So, of course, I mean, there's really nothing much more to definitively say about this set. But just based off this description alone, I'm really not taking out this they should have had an option of when it closes, but I do think they should have had half of it being able to be the panels taken off, interior on one half, the laser on the other half.
All right, let's get these swivel bits in.
Ship at the end of the day. So this is definitely more MVS. This is definitely more diorama, like they're saying. And I'm not too big of a fan of this. Definitely leave your thoughts down below, guys. What do you guys think about this? How do you guys feel about the minifigures? How do you guys feel about this being a rectangular diorama now? And that's all for this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more information.
I hope that the description of the model is incorrect, because that is terrible. If that's what that's going to be. The chances of me buying it were like, 60-40, but like, wow.
That screams luxury.
Right. No. There we go. Get myself some of the tile pieces and go forward. Into the really long ones. Right. That is quite random. I thought you build the canopy and the bit that goes over to complete it, but nope, you completely change what you're building after this. Maybe to keep it interesting?
This seems like your kind of thing, they said. Well, recently, Cahoots themselves invited me to come over and investigate for myself. So that sounds like opportunity knocking, doesn't it? As a consequence, this video was made in Cahoots with Cahoots. It's alright, this influencer lark, isn't it? What makes Cahoots particularly relevant to this channel is that it's themed around the London Underground in the 1940s, which seems quite specific. I'd say it's more like a flavour thing than a perfect recreation. The bar describes itself as being aimed at scoundrels, and while I'd say I'm more of a bounder, they were fine with letting me in. Let me give you a little historic background. There are, as you probably know, many abandoned tube stations. Many of these were abandoned before the Second World War. When war broke out, they found themselves pressed into service in various capacities. They were, basically, pre-existing bunkers. Most famously, many tube stations, both operational and abandoned, were used as air raid shelters by the public. Initially, this was something that both London Transport and the government discouraged, but following the rules tends to go out the window when you have the Luftwaffe raining hellfire down on you every night. So, the authorities relented. Some stations found themselves with unusual wartime roles. The tunnel leading to Aldwych, which at the time was not abandoned, but it wasn't very popular either, was used to store artefacts from the British Museum. Some were pressed into government service. Down Street housed the Railway Executive Committee, but more famously saw itself briefly occupied by the Prime Minister, Winston Churchill. As the Blitz continued, the government authorised the construction of deep-level shelters along the routes of the Northern and Central lines, the idea being that these could be joined up to form new express lines after the war. Most of the Central lines didn't get built, but the Northern line ones did, and they're very easy to spot if you know what you're looking for. One of them, Clapham South, has been restored and can sometimes be torn. Londoners have this weird relationship with the Blitz. It was undeniably a time of terror when people feared for their lives and their homes, when entire streets were levelled overnight. Even the tube stations weren't necessarily safe. Yet perhaps because of this shared danger and uncertainty, Londoners often look back on this experience with a strange kind of fondness. Sheltering on the tube was not something you could call fun, but there were medical facilities.
Oh, that's to help anchor it, right. I was on my own done some and not all of.
You were down there with your families, your neighbours, your friends, your colleagues, but also people who you might never have met before. The term Blitz spirit is, for better or for worse, still invoked to describe the British tendency to unite and make the best of hardship. Cahoots is, I guess, a response to that. It's unashamedly.
How much is this building? Is this next section?
All this explains the lore behind the venue. The story they've come up with is that a group of spivs and scofflaws found one of the abandoned stations that had been used as a shelter and turned it into a kind of speakeasy. The fictional abandoned station is Kingly Court, named after the yard off Carnaby Street where the bar is located. Which line it's on, I couldn't tell.
Right, we'll build this next bit. I enjoy myself. Not to mention, I'm working a hell of a lot later tomorrow, so that live will not be as long or as good as this one will end up being.
We headed over early on a Monday night. It was busy, but not crowded. Actually, I got there early and had a bit of a reconnoitre. There's the actual cocktail bar, which is the tube station bit. But there's also the ticket hall, which is kind of themed half around the ticket hall, half old-fashioned boozer. I do like an eclectic bar. Then we headed down into the bowels of Soho. Check out these stairs. They're made to look like an old wooden escalator. These no longer exist on the tube for safety reasons, but they were very common back in the 40s. They've also gone for underground electric railways of London style tiling. Not any particular station, there's bits in different colours, but very much reminiscent of the system as a whole. We were seated next to a section styled as a sort of semi-abstract tube carriage, or car, to use the correct London Underground terminology. What you're looking at right now is your train.
You know what? This shouldn't be too hard to build. I'll maybe build both these. I don't know. I'll tell you one. It's kind of for 10. Right.
I've waffled on for a while about tube stuff, but what's it like as a bar? Well, as I said, I really enjoyed the pub bit. I was there undercover, having not made myself known to staff. I was pleasantly surprised to discover that the price point here is quite reasonable by West End standards. As a beer-drinking fellow, I'm used to cocktail bars punishing me for my unsophisticated palate by making me pay through the nose for something quite mediocre. I must admit that when it comes to cocktails, I'm not an expert. I am an unsophisticated gent, so take my opinions on that basis. I sampled 3 of their cocktails. The first was known as the Off the Rails because, you know, stay on brand. This was a whiskey spicy. The dominant flavour came from a 10-year-old Ardbeg Scotch, which is a very smoky whiskey. I know that's not to everyone's taste, but I do enjoy a smoky whiskey. Ardbeg is kind of like the alcohol equivalent of the guy drinking twice the volume of everyone else that also spits a lot. You need some pretty strong flavour to balance it out. I thought the spiciness of this cocktail did that very well.
But this is doing a good bit of top paneling, so that should look quite good. In fact, so that I can install it later, I'm going to take off the gun port, because it just slides off on a rack.
Mustard flavoured vodka, which I didn't even imagine existed. And again, Ardbeg is in there. I wasn't so sure about this one. I must admit that I did not get the spiciness at all, and as a result, the Ardbeg kind of drowned out the I didn't like the I Say tomato. I was just hoping for something a bit spicier. Aren't we all in our day-to-day lives? The final one was, for me, the highlight.
Don't just see a place, experience it. Master ramen with a chef. Dive into underground jazz with a musician. Or see Notre Dame with someone who helped restore it. Airbnb experiences.
Are you taking the time to warm up before you work out? Or how about
This is the top section of it. This will be what you see kind of top down on the set. Right, this will be the visible part of it, rather.
Choose Total.
This was the Victory Garden. Here's me trying to film myself picking it up like a real human being. I would describe the flavour as green, if that makes sense. There's the taste of peppers there, cucumber, citrus, various herbal type things. It's very refreshing. Almost.
But throughout the rest of the week, these will be basically just be like kind of shorter live streams working on the Falcon. I don't really think we'll ever do more than like 1 or 2 hours at a go. We're never 9 minutes into this one.
We were happy with what we got, which was cocktail sausages, Scotch egg, and some triple cooked chips. There's a sort of British food with a twist thing going on. I particularly recommend the Scotch egg, which came with a mustard dressing. Overall rating. Well, I was invited, and the first 2 cocktails and the snacks were therefore on the house, so obviously that's going to put me in a good mood about the place. We did stay for another one though, so obviously we liked it enough to actually pay for it. Would I go back? Yes, absolutely. I'd like to try more of the cocktails, and I like the atmosphere. It's not rowdy, but it's not snobby either. It does what it promises to do. Date, be a good place for a celebration with a group of friends. It's a fun, offbeat venue, something unusual among the many bars of the West End. If you'd like to pay it a visit yourself, it's on Kingly Court, just on Barnaby Street, a short walk from Oxford Circus Tube Station. The actual tube station. Have fun. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do like and consider subscribing for more. I would like as ever to thank my donors on Ko-fi, on Patreon, and here on YouTube for your generous support. You are the ill-secured door to my abandoned tube station. And of course, a big thank you to Cahoots for inviting me over. And I will see you all again very soon. Cheerio. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. More in a bit. Hounslow West is a bit of an odd station, isn't it? When you think about it. I mean, you have this grand Art Deco entrance, then you have this long corridor to the actual platform subway, which is in the middle of a car park. What's up with that? Well, Hounslow West used to be a far more logical station. These days it's just the Piccadilly line, the branch that leads to Heathrow Airport.
Got a review of the new UCS ATST, which if I do go ahead and buy one of those, that will be a good example of the type of set I want to build on streams here.
UCS ATST might be the best LEGO Star Wars Summer 2025 set, but has finally hit the Ultimate Collector Series. The ATST is set 75417 with 1,513 pieces.
This is in the top detailing.
Without getting too deep into the weeds about how LEGO Star Wars has basically had a price floor for UCS sets in the last decade and a half, it's important to know that adjusting for inflation, this is the cheapest LEGO Star Wars UCS set they've released since 2010. In the Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter. It's also important to know that unlike every other LEGO Star Wars UCS set, this one is not starting out as a LEGO store exclusive. It's available at many retailers. So there's a chance that LEGO is going to be making 3 UCS sets a year, and that third UCS set every year will be the relatively smaller, relatively cheaper, but still pretty big UCS size set. It doesn't need to be a $240, $300 set, but can be $200, maybe down to $150. So I think while at first glance it may not be like it, it's definitely because it's kind of unprecedented in modern times for LEGO Star Wars. I'm really interested to see how it shakes out in the future. But that's all kind of irrelevant to whether or not you should actually buy this set for $200. So on the box is just the plain black box art. It would have gone hard with some Endor box art like the version from 2006. I just missed that, but it does look kind of cool with the green hue behind it. Definitely the right color to have for Return of the Jedi. So
right, now I need these tiles.
But it's really the side of the box that does it for me. It looks super creepy there. And then flipping around back,
Are they in here? No.
We got number bags 1 flag, which was just left in the box. We also got a small sticker sheet as well as the instruction manual, inside of which, of course, you're going to find the typical UCS writing.
I'll put that back on, so I need to take it off,
But my favorite page is
so it's not in the way.
Look at it from the bottom, it just looks so cool. They go on to show off details and features, some concept art, of the minifig. Unfortunately, I'm here to talk about it. It's, of course, an ATST driver, and it's the best ATST driver that we've ever had for LEGO Star Wars, but it's not as good as it should have been this $200 set. I'll get to that, but we'll start with the highlights on it. Got a great helmet, the goggles put on above his eyes there. Looks so cool like that. No second face. Notably on this one, I thought that was an interesting opening. It's not something that I see necessarily, but they just throw it there anyway, so it's kind of odd that it's not there. You've got the torso and prints, which are fantastic as well. Lots of detail there. The back is well detailed, and then the best part about this figure has to be his arm printing. You got the Imperial logos as well as some wrinkles from the clothing printed on there. It's printed on both sides, and it looks so good with the arm printing. I don't want to see another ATST pilot with that arm printing. It's such a nice upgrade. The other thing I don't want to see another ATST pilot without, what this pilot should have had, is dual molded legs. ATST pilots have very distinct black boots that take about half their leg. LEGO also just so happens to produce a light boot that could be half black on the bottom and half bright on the top, and perfectly representative, especially for a $200 UC set where you're literally only getting this really big, so why not make it as good as you could be? More are commonly included in $5 CMFs, but we want to get assets for Star Wars. Like, it blows my mind every time. I think this one's fairly picked up as the best version of the driver we've ever had. It's not where it needs to be. Now, the build won't accommodate the minifig, so the display stand, of course, throw on two studs there, and this one next to the ATST display plaque. The plaque itself has plenty of information about the ATST, the color versions of the builds that they put on there, and it still suffers from the dimple in the middle. So
This one is 2 parts away from being empty, so we almost got one of these empty. Oh, is that them in there?
I am giddy just looking at this thing. Finally, after nearly 20 years, a new UCS ATST build in front of me. And while it's got a lot of techniques that scream fire Lego Star Wars, there's something about this build in particular that looks very classic to me. Maybe it's how simple and similar to the original version the base feels to me, but there's just something about it that feels classic while also being modern. Now, there's 2 things I don't like about this ATST, and I'm going to save them for the end. There's a lot of stuff I do like about this ATST, and I guess we'll start at the feet. We've got the front toe, which is the fence cutting blade, and this one actually looks really sharp, so credit to some fence cutting. Looks nice, solid connection to the rest of the foot using some technique there. The rest of the foot is mostly smooth with a few studs showing through. I particularly like the use of this rounded piece in the back. I think it rounds off the back of the foot nice and quickly. But yeah, it's designed very nice, mostly light as well. This foot in particular has a little bit of tan, and as mentioned in the instruction manual, the tan that you'll see throughout is
Right, I find there we go. Assembled.
The bottom of the ATST's feet are very interesting, and they actually make use of a piece that I've never seen before, certainly not on a Lego Star Wars set. You see that little black piece there? It's actually rubber. It's super small, so here it is next to a stud for comparison, but there's 4 of them on each foot, and these add the necessary grip for this ATST to feel like it's firmly planted on the ground, like it's not going to slide all over the place. It, I think, is a very
Couple of these tiles.
feel of this ATST, especially compared to the feel of the 2006 version, which doesn't have any rubber on the bottom. Usually Lego would just use a tire piece or something, but they definitely got something much simpler here, much smaller, something you don't need to do as much work to integrate maybe onto the bottom. Getting into the ankle and shin area on the ATST build, just this section.
Right, there we go to the other side of that. And then, of course, we'll be like 2 panels that come down like a roof. See.
Part of that does mean that you won't have any posability here, which I think is fine. People are disappointed by these UCS ATSTs not being posable, but I don't mind it at all personally. I like the pose that it comes in, and I think it looks fine, but it can't be seen as a downside, certainly. But yeah, the inside is super stable and not going to break. Should come as no surprise, the section of leg above that is also very clean. Again, save the stray tan plate or 2 here or there, but man, the design is just so good and clean on this. Basically, in 2006, it felt like there were a bunch of like things sticking out that shouldn't necessarily have been, but the pieces didn't really exist to make it as clean as this. Here's a quick look at the back of the legs, fairly detailed, but nothing crazy going on. Kind of.
Right, I need to find the sloping parts for that.
Next, we've got the elbow joint, which is going to be integral to holding up the ATST as it's kind of freestanding here. So it doesn't have the body of a very important joint on it, and it is super strong. Not going anywhere, not going to be a point of failure over time or anything. So basically, I think all of the ATST weight at this point, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. The secret really is the reinforcement that you're going to find underneath with this bucket beam. It's seamlessly integrated there. Looks really nice to even tile it off to make it as clean as possible. I can't overstate how nice the amount of tiling on this model is. Like, it's just kind of everything. It's the same idea on top of it. Like, you're just super smooth looking, and that leads us up to the T-joint, which is a terrible step. The color of the discoloration is startling on this one. The actual design is okay. However, the discoloration is just unacceptable. For $200, print the piece. Don't call it Ultimate Collector Series. Just take the word Ultimate off, because that doesn't really fit when you're doing stuff like this. The joint shield here looks great, and it's on a hinge, so you can angle
Try to
it down,
find
angle it up,
certain drawer on this one. Just
on the
ah, there they are.
have it
Never
like
mind.
this, and I really don't like the way it looks like that. I really prefer it like that. I think that's the best look. It reminds me much more of the way 2006 looked. Oh, I knocked it over and the head fell off. Oh my goodness. I had something to mention with that later in the view. Holy crap, that was scary. Now a good time to show the underside of the ATST. Let's just do that, alright? So they did a lot of work to make the bottom of the ATST look amazing. Like flipping the studs around looks so good here. There's still some that's just empty space here, but generally they've added a lot of stuff you did not see on the previous version of the UCS ATST. Like this little kind of bubble at the bottom. You've got the front of the ATST, and there's also a color again to represent some dirt or rust on the bottom of the ATST. But the bottom of this thing truly does feel like UCS quality. That looks great, and especially for the display, you're going to be seeing this a little bit, and so to have it look as nice as it does is super beneficial in my opinion. Get this thing back on its feet. It's a great opportunity to show you what a first order ATST mod could look like with this new UCS ATST, huh? Anyway, here's a good look at the exhaust using these grill pieces for ventilation. With the head off as well, it gives you a great view of how the legs are going to be connected to the body and the way that they kind of angle out a little bit to give it a little bit more life on display. Now, the most
Right, I
important thing
find
about
those
the way
circular pieces. I believe that's it's in there. Sorry if I'm going a bit too quick or not commenting. I was trying to concentrate on this because the different color things on the instructions are all a bit confusing.
And I really think the only way you can appreciate what I'm about to do is if you owned or have held the 2006 version. My hand grabs the ATST and lifts. Look at that. It's in the air. And just notice how it's not flopping around all over the place. That's very important. Now, as I grab the old ATST and go to lift, oh, look at that. Look how flimsy and floppy it feels. This is, I don't even want to do it. I'm going to break it. This is a scary feeling model to pick up. I cannot overstate how nice it is to be able to pick up this ATST and not feel like it's going to fall apart. And I say all of that with the head on the ground at the back because it fell off, but that's a whole different issue than what I'm talking about here, okay? I made sure to firmly reattach the head so it should stay on, but this is another part of the ATST that once again just looks beautiful. Starting with the eyes or the viewport, they're great shape and they are able to be closed very easily. So you can close it up like that if you want to protect your drivers inside, and then when you want to open them up to take a view of what's going on outside, just lift them up like that. So you can get a lot of different little spots there too if you want to display it in a slightly different way like that or something.
I'm a bit tired. Right. I don't think we're going to do the second one of these. This was one of the kind of shorter end streams for this. Probably about roughly the same length as the first stream we did. But yeah, a little bit more tomorrow.
My favorite part is probably what looks like an Adam's apple on the bottom of the chin for the ATST. That's just what it looks like to me. Yeah, the blasters are all kind of boxed in there, and they kind of operate on their own independent company. See, we've got the light blaster cannon here, and I feel like the word light is not the proper description because it is pretty scary looking. Now, there's a shielding on the side, which can be used with a hinge. And you can just spin this thing 360 degrees. You can either grab it on the side and spin it, or you can spin to it if you would like. So it doesn't really matter how you want to do it, but again, just adjustable for your display. On the opposite side, we've got the concussion launcher, and this piece on the front is literally perfect. The cross-section book that I'm using, it looks just like this Lego piece. It's actually kind of insane how close of a match it is, but this spins just like it did on the other side, 360 degrees, whether you want to grab it or just grab the side panel and spin it.
I'm going to try to find something. Those are too short. I need the longer ones. And there they are. And now I just need to find something else.
Nice to see a little bit of quality somewhere. Unfortunately, it's on the back where you're not really going to see the pieces on the display. The printed pieces are always good no matter where they are. And then the top of the head is a really clean design, a pretty major upgrade from what we saw last in 2006. You can see the hatch in the middle there that is going to open and give us access to the interior. It's a hatch that many big to fit through, but not quite big enough for us to really explore the inside of the ATST. So, of course, the entire top panel is going to be so that you access to the inside. The seats are not minifig scale. They're just a little bit bigger because, of course, this ATST is not minifig scale, but they're nice looking seats. They actually did something really intriguing here in that they printed the piece onto a 2x3 tile, because I guess if they had just put the piece on there, it would probably fall off because it would only be connected with one stud at the top. But it's a really interesting workaround to try to make the seat look as good as possible. Now, personally, I would have preferred them not use the brown part of the sticker, because now the browns don't match on that sticker. It's also something you're never going to see on the interior, so it's whatever. But, you know, why print the brown that doesn't match when you could have just done a 1x2 size sticker to have in the middle, and then that would be a lot cooler. The control panel is pretty cool, though. The 4 tiles you see there are all printed, and then you've got a sticker for another 1x2 plate in the middle. It's just a really solid ATST interior, and even though it's not really going to get any use from me, it's just cool to know it's inside of there. Last thing while I have it open, though, you can see these rubber pieces on top are critical to holding the angle for the side panels on the ATST, much like they used rubber bands in 2006, but these rubber pieces are much stronger feeling and should wear much better over time. I mean, you probably won't notice them wear at all, like rubber bands. Rubber bands really lose a lot of strength over time. These should be fine over time.
I need one that's longer than that. Right.
Introducing Just Eat Plus. Get unlimited delivery, just $5.99 for 90 days.
Yeah, come on, get in there. There we go.
Now, I've shown you everything inside and out on this ATST, but I didn't really talk about the neck joint yet. There's something really intriguing here in a tire. When's the last time you saw a rubber tire on a LEGO Star Wars set? It certainly doesn't happen often. Now, what I feel like this does is it dampens the movement of the head. It's a wobbly head. It's going to wobble a little. You can see it wobble, but it stops it from wobbling after like 1 or 2 wobbles, just because it eats a lot of the energy. So I like the use of that rubber tire piece. It also just kind of looks interesting on the neck there instead of just a standard bristol line. I feel like it adds a lot more texture than you might see otherwise. So I'm fairly certain the purpose is to dampen the shape of the head, because there's no way to stop it from happening. Hitting the head on this thing, it can feel a little bit like a bobblehead as it bounces back and forth, but that rubber tire stops it from continuing to do so. It just slows that movement down really quickly. We'll go ahead and pull it off. You may have seen earlier it was only attached with this singular Technic rod, and so that can make this kind of...
So I need to do the other side, and this is like part of the top.
Given the limitations on what you can do here, I think they've made it as strong as possible, so we'll stick that back in there. And I know I showed the head like falling off earlier, but it almost feels like it's meant to do that in a way. Like if the model is stressed so much, it just kind of releases, and that just stops it from getting damaged in a bunch of other ways, perhaps. And so that way you can just take it, your head fell off, that's all right, everything else is still together. You throw the head and neck assembly back on, you kind of push it back down, and you're basically good to go. I don't know if that's the intention exactly, but what it felt like as I played around with it, especially with my experience with this model. Seeing some of these changes makes me feel like they were made in response to the way that this one felt. Now, to finish off the review, there's 2 things that I don't like about the UCS ATSE, which will technically be because I don't like the color of the stickers because it's atrocious, and who could possibly like that? But the first thing here is the dark tan here and there throughout the build. The idea behind it is really great in that it represents rust or dirt from Endor just being in use, but at the same time, it doesn't really add to the model, in my opinion. I think it actually takes away from it. The dark tan it doesn't do it for me. My editor actually mentioned to me that he thought they should have just included the gray pieces for it, and it would have only been like 25 extra pieces in the set, so it wouldn't have been too much for LEGO to include at a $200 price tag. I think that would have been very useful, and it should give fans the option to go and make their model gray or tan for the price that they've already paid. So I do wish it had given you the extra gray pieces there. I don't think the tan splotches are the ideal look, even though the idea behind it isn't bad at all. I do appreciate the thought process. Now, the other thing I don't like about this model is its price. Well, the UCS 6 was my first ever UCS set. It was $80. When you adjust that for inflation, that's $130 in today's money. You see the height of these models, you notice that this one is bigger. It's just bigger in a lot of ways. The head is a little bit bigger. The legs are a little bit bigger. Just everything's a little bit bigger in 2006. And so, to me, it makes no sense that this model would cost $130 today and this model would cost $200 today. There should be
So tomorrow, right? The live stream will start maybe around, I want to say 8 or half 8. Well, no, maybe around the time this one started.
We can talk about 200, right? We can understand how we can get a downsized model and it costs more if it was actually increasing quality in those material ways as well. I think the build quality is fantastic. There's a lot of great things to love about this set, but $200 is probably just too much.
Obviously we'll start by building the other one of these that you need to build for the set and go from there.
So let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the review, hit the like button, and you can check out more Lego Star Wars Summit 2025 reviews on the end screen now.
Well, that UCS ATST is not too bad. Potentially another, well, potentially build on here. Right. All I have to do is add the kind of black tiling off parts, and then we'll call it a day. Not too bad, you know, we've got an hour and a half. Well, we're all more than an hour and a half, but yeah, give or take, kind of live stream in there. I'm happy with that. And well, we got the cockpit added, which even if we had just stopped there, to me, is a good bit of progress. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to give an estimate, right, that the build will be done by Friday. That's just a rough estimate. Of course, still have all the top paneling to it. There's like 304 building pages, obviously of loads of sub-steps, but I'm currently just finishing up page 233. And that's the symbol of just built. I think that's it built completely. It is. And right, let's get that on then. So that goes on this side. Take off the gun port first would be great. All right, let's put the gun port back on. Let's see how that looks. That now it's starting to take shape. That's quite good. I'm not at complete liberty to hold up the laptop and show you, but essentially it's those kind of top bits that go across the gun port. Let's see if I can. Essentially it's just this. I'm not going to lift it up and show it like that, but that does not look too bad. Obviously we've got this bit, the spine out here and the cockpit, but in my mind that's quite a good bit of change. So I'm going to put it back up where I've been keeping it. Oh crap, that's a little bit too much of the set, not on the table. This I'll admit, this part's like this have not been fun to do. Just because I'm constantly worried I'm going to destroy the thing. Which, as you can imagine, is a bit stressful. So the live will continue on to get it up on the shelf. Me adding that cockpit, I mean, I suppose a cockpit is flush with the docking ports, so it's not jutting out too much, so it's not going to affect putting it on this table for building too much. But I think, and I hope that I'm right, with maybe one or two exceptions, we're to the point of the build where it's pretty much build it separate from the build and then add it on, which means I don't have to. I'll be a bit of the landing gear off again. I'll get that one once I'm done later on, but there we go. It has a cockpit added to it. I wonder if it wouldn't work, but we'll try turning this head on, see how it looks on display that way. So when you look at my shelf, the Falcon's just coming at you. Yeah, no, that's definitely not going to work. Let me show you what I mean. Yeah, having it display that way won't work. But yeah, for reference, it was this top panel bit there we just built, and of course we've got this kind of bit that comes out here and the cockpit. It's obviously going to have to be displayed at an angle because that's not going to work otherwise. All I can say though is, see, once it's built and up there, it's coming down only ever really for cleaning and barely at all. Because I'll admit, see some of these older Ultimate Collector Series sets, from what I understand, lifting and moving them was never part of the design brief with Lego. So they are not fun to move. I'll admit, this set is a good example of them not being great for moving. Now, obviously, it's an Ultimate Collector set. It's not intended to be swooshed around the room. But I would appreciate if Lego at least made it so that it can be, movable. But I think I've figured out the safe point in this build for lifting. I think I've got that figured out down to a T. Just checking a couple things here. Yep, we're all good. But having that cockpit added, that's pretty good. And the bang, do we just leave it up there so I don't have to really move it about anymore? Do you know what? We have to consult the instructions. I just want to know something. Do I have to actually build onto the main body directly again? Put that there just so I don't lose the page. I have to know the answer to this. So obviously we build the other opposite side of what we've just done. Right, okay, then you start getting right into the back panel. Okay. Paneling. Right, more yep, sticking panels on. Because mostly paneling and detail pieces we seem to have left, bar a few Technic pieces, but yeah, that's why I'm checking. So by that point in the build, you have the full back panels done. What's that bit there? Right, so then you build the cockpit tunnel. So that's not a build onto the set type thing. That's a. So I think for the most part, the rest of the build, again, I will quickly look through the last. I just want to be 100% sure with my process or choice making here, but it's more or less from this point forward. It's you build giant sections and then like click them into place. I don't have to sit for a while with the Falcon itself and add all the parts together or into it or anything like that. Yeah, I'm right. There's quite literally no more sticking parts onto the body. It's just pre-built segments. I'm going to quick go and move it again. Pushing the cannon at the bottom out of the way tends to help with the moving process quite a bit. Because a few points or places in this set where it looks like you'd want to pick it up there, but it's not recommended. yeah, I just broke quite a few bits of that off there. So I think, yeah, me bringing it back down was the right choice. I'm actually going to keep it down here until it's fully built. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to, because moving it is, every time I want to add bits or do work to it, is becoming quite stressful. Again, there are some Lego models that just are like that by nature. I don't really have too many that do that, to be fair, but I don't really have anything that's this big. I've got a couple big sets, but they're more modern than this one. Anyway, guys, good night. Crap, what have I dropped there? Right, I'm gonna go. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm just gonna clean up, and that'll be it. There's no point in me continuing to stream. So